the same reason, to get an education. But along with that there's many things that go with. There's stress, anxiety, lots of work, countless hours. I know I've spent countless hours working on different assignments. And there's one solution to this problem that most people really don't consider. And that is dropping out of college. Many of you are actually wasting your time here. And you should consider dropping out, because most people, they have this one-track mind where they're like, I'm going to go to high school, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to have a career, family, and then I die. But this is not the only option for everybody. So there are actually quite a few good reasons that you should drop out. The first being time. We spend a lot of time here. I don't know if you realize that, but I know I spend every waking moment on this campus. I spend hours every single night doing work. I spend hours on this speech alone. But with that time, I could be doing something else. One, I could be making money, just McDonald's, working at Panda, which I already do. But, my time could be turned directly into money. But there's also other things I could do. I could work on personal projects. I like to, 3D print stuff or build Legos. And I can't really do that right now because I'm at college. But if I dropped out, I would have the free time to do so. Second of all, it helps the economy. Most of you don't have student loans. But that is not the case for many people. As quoted from the Institute of College Access and Success, students from the class of 2017 on average had $28,650 in student loan debt. That's the price of a pretty nice car. And that's what you're going to be leaving college with. And you'll say, oh, I'll just repay that with my job. But actually, according to a study done by Austin Lacey on what is commonly known as an IDR, or an income-driven repayment plan, which is how most people will be paying for their college. These plans inhibit borrowers' ability to pay back and balance owed on federal loans in the short term. And on average, less than 50% of those enrolled in IDR plans paid back $1 of their loan in the first 2 years of repayment. This means that you will have this debt for the first 2 years of your life out of college. That's while you're working, that's while you're meeting other people, that's while you're supposed to be in your career making money, and you still have this giant car loan basically looming over your head. Not to mention the fact that this is going to drag on everything else in your life. You're not going to be able to buy a car, you're not going to be able to buy a house because you still have to pay back this loan. In fact, Farrington reports on the student loan bubble when he says the average net worth of a millennial is $10,500. That's it. That's like a new Honda Civic. And that's all you're worth, right? Not to mention the debt that is piled onto that. So, this is also a toll that's been, it's wreaking havoc on the entire nation. Nationwide, there's about $1.5 trillion of student loan debt. $1 trillion. I mean, it's insane. And most of it, in the first 2 years, is not even being paid back. Not to mention that this bubble of student loans cannot burst. See, with the real estate market, it could burst because you can just foreclose on all the homes. But you can't foreclose on an education, right? So all of this is just going into the IDRs, which are further going to drag on the economy because every single person who has a student loan, which is quite a few people, I know everybody here might have one, this is going to drag on what you can buy, which is going to drag on the entire American economy, which is going to decrease the GDP by approximately 1% to 2% over the next few years. So, you say, I don't really care about the economy. I don't really have anything else to do. Well, do it for your mental health. I know this was me last night at 4 a.m. doing history notes, and I know this is many of you in the middle of the night, or during the day, or right before the speech when your heart's beating out of your chest. And this can be alleviated just by dropping out. Now I know stress comes along with life anywhere you go, but this particular type of stress of forcing things into your brain that some people don't exactly value, and the fact that you're being judged based on, oh, which professor am I going to get? Am I going to be able to get the class times that I want so that I don't have to wake up at an ungodly hour of like 7 a.m.? All of this causes you stress that might not be necessary. See, without this stress, you can go and do what you want. We are at the peak of our lives, right? This is our youth, and we are burning it in prison cells called dormitories, where we study things that we don't give a crap about. When really, we could just leave and work on our own personal projects and become better for it. Because, what could you do, right? You have all this extra time, you might be working, but you can do other things like start a business. there are people with degrees who don't need them, and they can do other things with them. Take Hemingway, take Picasso. Neither of them had degrees, right? But they were both a great writer and a great painter. You might not be in an arts major, but those who are without a doubt wasting their time and money. And you may know some of these people, and you need to tell them what they're doing with their lives. Because this is ramifications that will last throughout your life, right? This debt doesn't just go away. It stays with you forever. And then there's people like you and I who, we're in a STEM major. We don't need this. Oh, look, I'm a computer scientist. I don't really need this. Well, there are many computer scientists who also dropped out of college, right? I know he's not a computer scientist, but Kanye, for instance, right? He dropped out of college and started his music career, right? 2 Harvard dropouts, I bet you know their names. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, went on to start their own tech companies. The computer displayed right now by Dell. Michael Dell dropped out of the University of Texas to start this computer company. You don't need a college education to do something great. You see, let's say, all right, you don't have $1 billion idea, because I know I don't. But that doesn't mean I can't make a good amount of money and not go to college, right? Take trade schools, for instance. I know my buddy, he's going to a trade school. It's going to take him about a year to get through, and he's going to have the opportunity to make 6 figures being a mechanic. 6 figures, right? That's more than a lot of people will make with a college degree, and you can make that with 1 year of school rather than 4 years of school, right? And it's a lot less heartache, and you're working with your hands. You're doing something that's immediately gratifying rather than studying something that you don't really care about just so you can check off that box on the GEP sheet. Right? And there's also jobs that don't even require a degree whatsoever. I know y'all have probably heard Google, they've taken off their degree requirements. Facebook have taken off their degree requirements. It's a general trend that's happening all across the nation because if you think about it, 30 years ago, you didn't need a degree to get a lot of these jobs. The more people get degrees, then these jobs raise their requirements. But if not everybody's getting a degree, I don't need a degree to be a secretary. But now, since everybody's getting one, I need to be more competitive, so I need to get a degree, even though it's not really going to be used. So it's just everything's stacking on each other, but it doesn't need to be done, right? So many of you I know aren't going to drop out of college. You need to just consider this option, right? Consider every single decision you make, because there's other things that you're planning on doing, and you still need to consider that too. For instance, there are a few of you who want to go to graduate school. Now, you might not have student loan debt now, but if you go to graduate school, you almost certainly will have student loan debt. And I'm telling you, it is going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it might not even be worth it. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook, it says that in many careers, science, law, and medicine, a grad degree is necessary to move beyond entry-level work. But for marketing, computer science, and creative fields, experience and quality of work are more important. That means you're going and you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get an education that you don't really need. And the fact is, unless you're going into academia, it's not going to be used. Again, going back to Hemingway and Picasso, they didn't have degrees and yet they were successful. But if you want to go into academia, what is the thing you're going to be waiting for? There's not a plethora of jobs out there for people with doctorates, right? You're basically waiting for somebody to retire at, that University of Iowa where you've always wanted to work, just so you can do the same job that they were doing. So you just don't think about it. And then there's the fact that there's a drain, not only on your financial life, but on your social life, right? People have family, people have friends, but if you go to grad school, you're going to be grinding out at all hours of the night, doing things that you wouldn't think you would be able to do, and you won't have time for this family. If you don't have a family going into grad school, you are extremely unlikely to have one coming out, and that's just because of all the stresses that go along with it. You see, here's the thing. No matter where you go, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to do hard work. That's just the way it is, right? You might be here and think, oh, I have this easy degree, I'm going to get a job and make money, it's going to be cake. No. The fact of it is, if you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to work hard, and that's the way it is. So right now you need to think about what you're doing, because you have a decision to make. You and everybody else have to think about why you're here, what you're doing here, and is it worth it? Because like you, there are other people out here who don't know what they're doing, who haven't gotten this speech, and who are thinking, this art major, this is really going to benefit me. So you might not drop out, but you need to tell your friends that maybe they should, because they could ruin their lives being here at this institution. So really, just think about it, because the best decision you ever make might be dropping out of college. Thank you.